good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. As you all know, we are here to discuss the issues regarding the breach of agreement for the recent food festival organized by the Mrs. Raja. So let's start by reviewing what happened. Mrs. Raja, could you give us a brief overview?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fakro. So, certainly, the food festival was held last weekend and we encountered several problems. Especially, there were issues with vendors' placement and authorization and complaints about hygiene standards. This issue have raised concern about the adherence to the terms of the agreement each participant signed.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Raja. So I would like to hear from the one of our participants here, from the vendor Langkawi. Mrs. Fatin, could you give some perspective on what happened?
Okay, sure, Mr. Fakro. Okay, from my side, I set up my stall exactly where I was assigned, but I noticed that some vendors moved to the more favorable spot without permission, and this caused confusion and overcrowding in certain areas. We did our best to control the situation.
Hey, thank you, Mrs. Fatin, from our vendor at the Langkawi. So now, Mrs. Putri, as I know that you are from the vendor Kedah. So what about you? Do you have anything to share with us?
I agree with Fatih. The unauthorized movement create chaos. Also, I saw a few vendors selling items that were not approved in the agreement. This not only affected sales but also brought up health and health safety concerns.
Okay, understood, Mrs. Putri. So right now we want to hear something about from the Kuala Lumpur participant vendor. So Mrs. Farah, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I do. In addition to what Fatih and Putri mentioned, I noticed that some vendors did not follow the hygiene standard outlined in the agreement. This not only put customer at risk but also damaged reputation of the event.
Wow, there's a lot of damage there. So thank you,
Mm.
Mrs. Sarah, from our representative Kuala Lumpur. It's clear that we have several issues to address. So Mrs. Raja, as you are event manager,
Even manager.
can you elaborate on the specific breach of the agreement?
Yes, Mr. Fakron. According to the agreement, all vendors were to remain in their assigned spot, sell only approved item, and adhere to strict hygiene standards. Unfortunately, several vendors failed to comply with this term, leading to the problem mentioned.
I see, Mr. Raja, thank you. So now let's discuss how we can resolve this issue and prevent them in the future. As we know that our event manager is just a cute little girl, so we want to hear from our vendors also. Does anyone have suggestion?
Yes, I have
Yes.
one. I think we need a stricter enforcement of the rules. Maybe we could have more staff monitoring the event to ensure compliance.
All right. Anyone?
I agree with Fatih. Also, there should be clear penalties for vendors who breach the agreement. This would discourage non-compliance.
Okay, thank you. So anyone?
Additionally, we could hold a mandatory meeting before the event to remind everyone to the rules and the importance of following them.
All right, event manager. Can you conclude about all these participants' suggestion?
Yes, so those are all great suggestions. We can certainly look into increasing staff presence and implementing penalties. A pre-event meeting is also a good idea to ensure everyone is on the same page.
Okay, excellent. Let's make sure we incorporate this suggestion into our planning for the next event. Mr. Raja, please draft a revised agreement and enforcement plan based on today's discussion. All right.
Okay, will do, Mr. Fakro.
Okay. Thank you,
I
Mrs.
will
Raja.
circulate this revised document to everyone for review and feedback.
Thank you, Mrs. Raja. Does anyone have a final thoughts before we adjourn?
No, thank you.
So,
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Fatin from Langkawi, Mrs. Putri from Kedah, and Mrs. Sarah from Kuala Lumpur. So, all right, thank you all for coming and for your constructive input. Let's work together for the next event to ensure this event will be the best event ever in Malaysia. All right, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon.
Thank you.